Bună seara, stimați telespectatori, și vă mulțumesc frumos că sunteți la emisiunea Valori Euroatlantice, difuzată cu generozitate de postul de televiziune 6 TV în fiecare duminică. Intenția fiind de a aduce în fața dumneavoastră interlocutori din țară și de peste hotare care să ne prezinte puncte de vedere inedite, rod al unor experiențe aparte în ceea ce privește ce înseamnă comunitatea euroatlantică, ce înseamnă parteneriatul strategic dintre Statele Unite ale Americii și România. De data aceasta în studio am plăcerea și onoarea să vi-l prezint pe americanul și în același timp pământeanul cu bune intenții Jim Seck, care este un analist politico-militar cu o experiență aparte, cu un surâs încurajator, a studiat în România, cunoaște bine nu numai țara sa natală, ci și realitățile din Europa, unde a călătorit inclusiv în partea răsăriteană, acolo unde tensiunile sunt mari și sunt interesante pentru noi, pentru că după parada de la 9 mai vrem cu toții să știm dacă va fi pace în Ucraina sau va fi o resuscitare a conflictelor de până acum. Am onoarea să vă salut, domnule Jim Seck, și bine ați venit la postul nostru de televiziune.
Vă mulțumesc foarte mult pentru oportunitatea să vorbesc cu dumneavoastră și toți aici în România.
Deși domnul Jim Seck cunoaște limba română, am preferat să folosim un dialog în limba engleză pentru a avea un plus de cursivitate și în același timp de înțelegere exactă a nuanțelor pe care invitatul nostru le va folosi în abordarea unei teme de interes general. Statele Unite ale Americii între Asia și Europa. O dilemă care nu este doar pe masa de lucru a președintelui Barack Obama, este și în atenția celor care sunt interesați de a vedea măsura în care superputerea lumii găsește echilibru pentru a menține pacea. Doar președintele Barack Obama are premiul Nobel pentru pace, atât pe bătrânul continent, cât și pe continentul asiatic, zone care sunt acum tensionate din rațiuni pe care le cunoaște. Nu numai că le cunoașteți, dar vrem să le și abordăm pe rând. Sir, the first question is about Barack Obama. Barack Obama is for us an interesting president. And I want to ask you, how is the opinion of American people about their president? Because after 6 years, he is prepared to understand the situation. After 2 years, he will be only a simple citizen, like, let's say, President Clinton, like President Bush. And during the next week, he will have an agenda very interesting about the meetings with other people, other leaders. But in the last week, he has a meeting with American journalists with a lot of jokes. Could you explain the situation in American society today?
As you said, he's an interesting fellow. He was a very big surprise for us in America when he was elected. He was born in Hawaii. He has a black father and a white mother. He considers himself a black man, so the first black president of the United States of America. He spent time in the Illinois Congress, only in the state. Then he was elected to the United States Senate. He spent one term, a very short period of time, in our Senate. And then he was nominated by the Democratic Party as a surprise candidate and then won the election. It was a manifestation of the frustration of the American people with our political system and our political situation at the time. So he was not only a surprise for the rest of the world, but a great surprise to the people of the United States. In fact, the state where I live, in the middle of the United States, is very Republican. And Barack Obama, it has been Republican for decades, but Barack Obama was able to win my state. And in his effort for re-election, he came very close to winning my very Republican state a second time. So among the people of the United States, there is strong support for him. Not the strongest support, it could be better, but he has strong support among the people. Where he has a problem is in the Congress and in the Senate of the United States, which are both controlled by the other party. And famously, the leader of the Republicans in the Senate said that it was his goal to make Barack Obama only a one-term president, 4 years, only 4 years. And it was his effort. He worked for all those 4 years to defeat everything that Barack Obama stood for. He used every parliamentary procedure in his arsenal to defeat Barack Obama. Yet 4 years later, Barack Obama was reelected. And today, 2 years after the reelection, Barack Obama is a stronger president than he was at the beginning of his term. He's wiser. He's more astute. He was always a very, very smart man from the beginning, and that is why I believe so many Americans compared him to George Bush. President Bush had trouble putting 3 sentences together in a row. Barack Obama speaks eloquently. President Bush had taken us into war, and that war had become a quagmire in Iraq, where you served. Barack Obama promised to take us out of Iraq, take us out of Afghanistan, and to be very, very careful about involving the United States in another war. Essentially, he was elected by the American people to be an isolationist, to retreat from not our commitments, but our intervention in the affairs of other countries. So now, 2 years later, at this dinner where he was such, I thought, a wonderful speaker, he made jokes about, mostly about the Republicans and people who've come to criticize him, and he also made internal political jokes. He was very strong, he was very well received, and I think Barack Obama now, in his last 2 years, will be a very tough president for the country.
You know, some people wrote in American press about Barack Obama, he is more PR president.
Yes, he is very good on substance. But for people in the United States, we have a very, very divided country. Very divided. Republicans, Democrats. And it is increasingly divided every week. We see that the Republicans will not talk to the Democrats. The Democrats will not talk to the Republicans.
You mean on the level of Capitol Hill?
Yes, on the level of Capitol Hill, in my state house, where my governor is, they will not talk to the Democrats. The Democrats do not talk to them. In restaurants, in families, in schools, in universities, we have a raging debate in our country about the direction. This direction or that direction. The fight has focused on this Obamacare, it is called, which you have exceptional health care here. I know.
You mean Romanians?
Yes, I have had an opportunity to study your healthcare system very closely. And you have very good healthcare here.
In few hospitals, let me tell you frankly the truth.
In a few hospitals in the United States, we have absolutely superlative care, but it costs a great deal of money. It's not free. Obama came in and said we need to have more health care for more people. And this was a policy borrowed from Mitt Romney in Massachusetts when he was governor. He installed it there.
Please be so kind and explain me and to the viewers. It's a personal policy of Barack Obama, or it's a policy of Democrat Party?
Both. Absolutely both. And of the people who support the Democratic Party and a large plurality of the American people. It is strongly supported.
What does it mean for you, plurality?
40%, 45%. Because remember, there are 40% who are against it, completely against it.
Why?
Well, because I am biased. I am a member of Barack Obama's party. And I believe that the maskarovka, you might call it,
Yes.
the disinformation, the lies and misrepresentation have been very strong to label this generally broader healthcare, this advance in healthcare, as socialist, as communist, as a destruction of our economy. It will kill jobs. And this was, the facts were not there. The facts now show that it has been good for America. More people are getting better health care in America today than 4 years ago.
In the same time, as I saw, the Vice President, Joe Biden, supports the policy of Barack Obama.
Of course. Our system, the Vice President should be the #1 friend of the President. The person who stands right behind him and supports the President. Or perhaps in 2 years, the person who stands right behind her and supports the President. Because chances are it will be Hillary Clinton next time. But
you think will be Hillary Clinton president and Joe Biden as the next vice president? Could be?
No. I doubt it will be Joe Biden. If today you said put 100 de lei pe masa, and to decide that $1,000,000 de lei on the table and vote for who you think will be the winner, I would put $1,000,000 lei on Hillary Clinton. But
it's your wish. It's your option.
My wish is to be able to go into the polling booth on election day and see a candidate who I care for, who I support, who is also in favor of the policies that I support. I am.
Okay, let me.
I have one thought. I am a little older than you, 10 years.
No,
and
you are younger than me.
I think I am older. We will make a bet later. But I was a supporter of Robert Kennedy in the United States.
Why?
Because he reminded me of Barack Obama. Before there was a Barack Obama. He reminded me of hope, of intelligence, intellectualism, insights, compassion, thoughtfulness, and care for men, women, and children. Black, white, Hispanic, Romanian, German, any group of people in America would have been helped by Robert Kennedy, and he was killed.
But in the
he
same
was killed
time,
3 months before the election. What I'm saying is that today Hillary Clinton is the choice of all of the betting people in America.
we will see. But you know, in Romania, on a high level, it's an idea. On the high society over the ocean in America, few guys decided it's necessary to have in our times a black president, and after that to have a women president.
It is sort of this way. There is a philosophy among some people who believe that that it is more important to elect a woman than it is to elect someone who is capable. There are some people who think this. There were some people who thought that it was more important to elect a black man than to elect the best person. My judgment is that we elected the best person, and that at this moment, what are we, a year and a half from the election, a year, 18 months from the election, at this moment that she is the best candidate for America, the most prepared. In some ways, I would think that she is also the best candidate for Romania and for our NATO alliance and for the defense of Europe. And this to me is very important. So that reason leads me to support her. She is an environmentalist. We need to clean up our environment. She supports the rights, stronger rights for women in the workplace and before the law. She is a supporter of so many things in America that we call progressive. But the possibility always exists that she will not be the nominee 1 year from today, 1 year from June, I think. And it is possible that the Republicans will present someone who is the most important, the most influential, the most loving person in America, also with the capability and the intelligence to lead the world in peace.
Republicans told to the American journalist, Barack Obama, it's a weak president. We need a strong president. And a lot of them think Jeb Bush could be the next president. What is your opinion about this subject?
Barack Obama was elected to be a domestic president and not to be a president for international affairs as much as domestic policy. International, domestic.
I understand.
He, I believe, in the last 3 or 4 months, in the face of problems in Syria, in the face of problems in Libya, in the face of our friends in Russia attacking Ukraine.
Because they think, okay, Obama will do nothing?
Now, perhaps. It may have been, and we will only know in 20 years when the history books are beginning to be written. But we will see whether Putin decided he had carte blanche to attack Ukraine because he felt that Barack Obama would not stand strong. We have seen in the last few months, as you reminded me, we have seen American tanks parading in Estonia.
Yes.
We know that there are American paratroopers now in the west of Ukraine training Ukrainians.
It's true.
We have what we call this airplane the Warthog. I am not sure of the...
Yes, I know.
But it is this tactical, it is a tank killer.
Yes.
And as my German military instructor once said, Russland ist eine Landesmacht. Russia is a land power. The United States is an air power. Warthogs kill tanks.
At the same time, United States is a navy power.
Correct.
The first one.
Yes, and we the English might take exception with that. You know, Maria Britannia and England rules the waves and all that, but the United States is a great naval power in conjunction with the United Kingdom and our partners in Europe. It is a partnership. It is a partnership upon which we have learned to depend very much upon our European cousins. You are our cousins. We are all your cousins. So we must work together in this, and we depend upon you.
At the same time, we are very interested in Romania about the relation between White House and Pentagon.
Early in the Obama administration, I believe there was an example of some officers who were not
obey to some rules.
Totally responsive. But there has been nothing like the episode between Harry Truman and General MacArthur. You'll remember that when
Yes.
MacArthur was data fara. He was
Yes.
fired. The generals who are leading NATO now speak with the permission of the president. There is no...
You mean General Philip Breedlove?
Yes.
Who is SACEUR, the Supreme Allied
Yes.
Commander of
Yes.
Allied Forces in Europe.
Yes. I have no doubt in my mind that when the military speaks and you hear it, it is what President Obama and our national security organization have determined to be the wisest policy for America. Back to your question, which was, did the Russians think that he was weak? I believe so. And did they take advantage of this? Yes, I believe so. And is he weak now? I don't think so. I think the change in him has been...
I like you underlined the last sentence. Yeah. Why you don't believe so?
I believe that in the last, from my perspective in America, watching one problem after another come to him, and his reactions to those problems, he has become resolute in this. He has nothing to lose now. He is not going to be president again. He does not have to stand for an election. He has nothing to lose. And this is very important. Remember I said we are divided in the United States. You know, there's this line between John McCain.
Yes, I know.
And Lindsey Graham.
I know him.
And my friend Dan Coates.
Yes.
Are very much behind the president, pushing him to be even stronger in his defense of Europe.
They are professional statesmen, you know.
Yes, and all good men, all good men. But without the support of the Republican Party and their call for America to be strong in the face of Vladimir Putin, it would be much harder for President Barack Obama to speak on behalf of all the American people. Again, we are so very divided. Do you remember what happened a couple months ago?
Yes.
Some Republican senators sent a letter to Tehran saying that they do not support Barack Obama.
A stupid thing.
Well, it was used by the White House as a way of making the Republicans less powerful. They immediately looked like they didn't understand the American system, that they were communicating directly with the opposition, not the enemy, the opposition, and that they were trying to undermine the one person who speaks for America. So the Republicans looked weak, the president looked strong, and he is still strong. And that is why you saw these strikers in Estonia, the warthogs coming to Germany, the parade through the center of Europe by this long column of American, trainers going to Western Ukraine.
You mean the mission Dragoon Ride?
Yes. At
the same time, let's see on the screen a very interesting person from your country, the strong comedian Cecile. We have here. And I put these images because my next question is about the power of the women in United States. And you know why. Even Hillary Clinton fight for the same rights of the women in United States with rights of the men.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
How you comment this subject?
There are more than a few countries in the world, Scandinavia, Europe, where the status of women is better than the United States. So we have work to do. I make a simple analogy. No country that puts one arm behind its back to fight is as strong as a country that fights with both arms. We need women, we need men, we need all of our minorities, all of our majorities, all of our people to participate completely.
Okay,
fully.
This is on a theoretical level.
Of course.
Practically speaking, what is happening now?
Practically speaking, right now we have a backlash against women's rights in the United States. The pendulum swings against women. Soon the pendulum will swing the other way. It happens in the United States. We didn't, and in every state, there are laws passed to restrict the rights of women in one sense or another. Sometimes they are defeated at the Supreme Court. Sometimes they stand. Sometimes, and is what is happening now, the president has taken executive action. In other words, he decided he would change something at the federal level, write new rules that brought more women into the system. The federal government has a lot of employees, a tremendous number of employees. So any shift in the federal government's rules affects every state, every city, every town in America. So that is what the president is doing. And then, again, I am a moderate to the left, a moderate to the left.
Let me put a question who help you to explain more this subject. I saw Michelle Obama working with Jill Biden. Jill Biden is the wife of the Vice President Joe Biden, and they have a good result to prepare more job for the former military.
Yes.
But I hope you will explain me if Michelle Obama and Jill Biden are only two women, strong women in America who did something necessary for democracy in the United States of America.
No, they are representative of many women. They are opinion leaders. When they do something, all of the TV cameras, all of these cameras will be where they are to make videos and to report the news. So they create a sense in the United States in favor of women. But in every community, in my town, in the capital of my state, in every city in the United States, there are strong organizations that support the rights of women, or more rights for women. And while Jill Biden and Michelle Obama are important, there are many, 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 many other women in the United States who are equally important as they are. They will come and go. These organizations will last. We are now debating in the United States whether to change the picture on our money. The $20 bill has Andrew Jackson. The question is, do we put on the picture of a woman? Well, it will happen. The question is, which woman? I am voting for Eleanor Roosevelt because we share a birthday. So I love this woman, and she was a great progressive leader in the United States.
Do you think after the next election, I mean in 2016, yes?
The national election.
National elections will be a good way for your economy to have good development in the future?
Our economy is in good shape now, not great shape, but it's in good shape.
Let's say a beginning.
I don't think it. I think the economy of the United States will continue like this. I expressed this to my friend earlier that currently the American economy is the strongest, is the best growing in the world, except the Chinese, of course. China's have problems. Europe has some problems.
Yes, but the Chinese economy is on the second place.
Yes, of course.
Even now.
It's in the second place, but they grow at 7%, and they think that it is nothing. We grow at 3%, and we're happy. It's a very big economy, so 3% is good. Our growth is growing. When Europe corrects some of its problems economically, it will begin growing too, which will make America stronger and the world economy stronger. Now you see the euro is down and the dollar is stronger because of the work of the European Central Bank and the American Federal Reserve. This will balance over time. The price of oil has dropped dramatically. It is up a little. This is good for our economy in many ways because it gives somebody who drives regularly, it puts $500 more in my pocket. It's like a tax decrease. So the American economy on the individual level, it depends. We're a consumer country, not like Germany, which is a exporting country. It depends upon the American taxpayer whether they have extra money in their pocket. And if they do, they will spend it. And that drives our economy and also means that I will buy another Mercedes.
Okay, I will not avoid to put you a difficult question. I discussed with you before these moments about the situation in Baltimore, Could you explain what happened there?
In the 1600s, Europeans began to bring slaves to America. Since that time, there has been discrimination, official policies and unofficial policies against black people in the United States. It was also the case once there were laws against Catholics, Jews. There were discrimination against the Romanians who came to my city. Most of that has gone away. Most of the laws against blacks have gone away, but there are many places in the United States where black people are not liked, not respected, and are treated badly. And over a long period...
It's a question of an old mentality?
It is a question of an old mentality. It is a question of racism. Mm-hmm. We have racism in the United States. We have sexism. We have ageism. We have all of those things. The United States is a work in progress. We're always trying to get better. And this discrimination against black people sometimes leads to great anger and frustration. That was in Ferguson. That was in another city, which I have since forgotten. There are many cities. There's a city in Louisiana where they arrest black people for walking across the street if they don't walk in the right way. Can't walk like this, you have to walk straight. And they arrest them anyway. And then they...
You know, I was in Louisiana, I visited a few towns, and I didn't see nothing bad between white people and black people.
It is possible. It is clearly possible. In every city in America, though, there are problems between the races. I think that the election of Barack...
Also, it's a problem of police officer?
It's a problem. It's a problem of tradition, history. Some police officers, not all. There's a police officer in my city who told me once that as long as the black people are shooting each other, it's less work for him. He said that. It was very disappointing, but he is one person on a very large police department where all of the officers, most of the officers, are perfect gentlemen. But it only takes one person to destroy an image, to destroy the moment, to set in motion all of these troubles. Baltimore has had race problems for hundreds of years, and they still have them.
Please be so kind to tell me your opinion about the situation in your armed forces. Because at the beginning of this year, as I saw, and our viewers saw, it was a debate about the budget, military budget, to be cut and to have a different number of soldiers, a different way to make necessary payments for United States Armed Forces. What is your opinion in this subject?
I was a soldier in 1970, 71, 72, 73.
A private?
No, a little higher.
My son, classified?
I think so. I was an interrogator, so it was.
Could you explain what means interrogator?
I was trained in Monterey.
Okay.
I went to a school in Texas to learn how to ask questions properly. And then I was sent to Munich.
In Germany?
Yes, where we had a center. I was in the 5th MI company, the 66th MI group, and we were part...
MI, military intelligence?
Military intelligence.
Okay.
And I'm trying to remember, it's been a long time. We were the 18th something too, the 18th battalion of the 66th group.
Okay.
And our job, my job, în fiecare zi am vorbit cu românii care au fugit de aici. I spoke every day with Romanians who left during the time of Ceausescu. And
your mission was to know the state of spirit of Romanians?
Correct. The quality of the military, the ability, Yes, mostly how the Romanians felt about their own government and their economic and social progress. I would write my reports, they would go to somebody in Heidelberg, and they would compile them, and the reports would go to the president.
Okay, let's return to United States Armed Forces today
We
and their future.
We reform our military every year. Every year we have a new budget, and the Congress looks at military procurement, the supplies, the equipment, the type of supplies, and makes a decision which systems we will support and buy, how we will train our military. So every year this budget is a reflection of our decision to, and every year we cut the budget a little to make it, as some politicians would say, leaner, more muscle, less fat. And every year the military says, you are strangling us, we need more money. So there is always this competition. I think that our military, we are still spending more money than any country in the world, more money than I think all of the other countries combined. So we have a very, very strong military. I don't think there's a comparison.
Yes, but it's necessary because United States of America is a superpower of our world and has great responsibilities.
Correct. We, as you know, we spend a lot of money on this new jet airplane, this new fighter, tactical fighter. We have spent billions and received nothing for it. So we are very aggressive to make sure that the military is spending their money properly. We want that money to be actionable, to be useful, so that when it comes to defending Europe or defending Canada or defending some country in Asia, that we have the capability, the overwhelming force.
And don't forget to defend your allies in Europe.
Of course. I mean, that is, I had a nice conversation with a Russian friend of mine. And my point was that we have no interest in attacking Russia. What good would that do us? What good? Our interest is in trading with Russia. But
even Romanians want a relationship, good relation and peaceful relation with Russia. But the situation now is different.
Course. You have a history of, the Russians have visited Romania so many times. And usually they leave with the silverware.
Visited coats.
Yes. And Romania has a very honest suspicion of Russian foreign policy. We all should have a very honest concern about Russian foreign policy because the country is a kleptocracy. It is run by a small group of people who are taking for themselves. You saw the story about Mr. Putin being one of the richest men in the world.
Yes, it's true.
How much does he make each year? 100,000?
I don't care.
Yeah. So he makes this much.
Because I will not change his fortune.
So the responsibility of the America is to be the strongest partner in NATO, to defend our NATO partners according to Article 5, and when the attack on Europe might be cyber warfare, to also be resolute in our defense of you and the rest of Europe in this new hybrid war, this new type of war that is unfolding before us. So I don't think, in fact, what Vladimir Putin has done is to strengthen NATO, to strengthen the American resolve to defend Europe and to defend our NATO partners. And he has probably given the European Union greater strength as well. Because you know how it is. When you have nothing to do, when you have no raison d'etre, you sometimes get a little lazy and sometimes forget that there are threats out there in the world. He has reminded all of us that there is a threat to your peace, your stability, the beautiful architecture here in Bucharest, the lives of people in Bukovina and Transylvania to live the life they want to and prosper. He has taught us, he has shown us, he has pushed us to strengthen NATO, to strengthen the EU, to strengthen your military, and to strengthen America's commitment to Europe.
Let me tell you frankly, in Romania are some voices, and during the last year they said United States of America is so far over the ocean. American soldier will not come, will not fight for Romania. And you have to fight alone if will be the evil in Romania. And you have poor armed forces. What is your opinion about this, let's say, individual statement?
It is always the strength of the attacker. The advantage goes to the attacker. In democracies, it takes us all time to come together, to have consensus, and to move. The European Union, 28 countries, 28 voices, 28 votes. The United States has stated publicly, through the voice of President Obama, that we are resolute in our defense of you, and that we are here to stay. Until you decide that there is no danger from another part of the world, and we can go back to our barbecues and our baseball games and other things. The American people, we don't want to push ourselves upon you. We don't want to impose. 90%. There may be a 1 or 2% who think that they know everything, but the average American person, the majority of the American people, do not want to impose American philosophy on European values. Romania is a beautiful country with a remarkable people, and you have made so much progress that I have seen in the last, since '89. I was here first time in '90 to visit after the change. Now Romania, this beautiful Bucharest, are flourishing. A lot of work to do. A lot of work to do, but it is flourishing compared to what I saw. I was in East Germany right after the wall came down. The quality of life in East Germany looked like a ghetto when I went there the first time, compared to West Germany, which looked like Christmas lights everywhere. Now East Germany looks wonderful. The changes have come very quickly in a very short period of time. So, you know, we have much to learn from you.
Really? Why?
Because you live a wonderful lifestyle here. You live, I have been here for 2 weeks now. I've been here before.
Yes, but let me tell you frankly again, the level of life of the majority of Romanians is not on the level of the life of a majority of American people.
True. But there are other things that you have here that are wonderful. And I love being here. And I see lessons that I take home to the people in my town, to my congressman, to my senator, and to explain to them that there are some things that we need to learn from the Romanians. Romania's problem is still that you are seen by too many people as too corrupt from the top down. Where the leadership begins, there needs to be a strong effort to make Romania a more fair and egalitarian society. But you still have a beautiful community. There are Sibiu, Brașov, these are beautiful places. You have beautiful countryside, you have lovely people. I have been looking. There are some very beautiful people here in Bucharest.
I will put you about Romania a difficult question now. As I saw, the President Barack Obama has a meeting with the President of Poland, and Poland and Romania are the two most important countries on the board of NATO. Yes. In this area of Europe. Do you think it will be possible to receive Mr. Barack Obama, our President, Mr. Klaus Iohannis, to White House in the future?
It would be nice for Klaus Iohannis to visit Washington and to receive a state dinner, and for Barack Obama to tour Bucharest and to visit this. You know that we have just appointed an ambassador.
I put this question because now, and I put images on the screen, the best part of our relation between United States of America and Romania. When I mean United States of Romania, I think of the unification of Romania with the Republic of Moldova. But the best part of our relation is on military side. Mm-hmm. And my hope, like a simple citizen, is to have dialogue to have more efficiency of economic plane, you know?
True, true. And I have been asked by some friends here to discuss in America economic development in Romania. I believe we have a Romanian-American Chamber of Commerce. I believe we have Romanians in America who are extremely rich and who should be helping Romania to develop. So I will be talking to them as well. That should be the goal. I'm sure, I guess, you would know. Is there an American Chamber of Commerce here? And is this in constant discussion with the Chamber of Commerce in America to build trade between the two countries? The more trade we have, the more exchanges of students, the more exchanges of leaders to see our system and for us to see your system, the better it is. I have a dear friend, she has a 10-year visa to visit the United States, 10 years. She can come and go anytime she wishes, and that should be the case for all Romanians.
Good point. What is your opinion about the necessary visa for Romanians to visit United States?
There should be no visa. It should be free to come anytime you want to.
Yes,
Very
but
simple.
at the same time, we saw on the official level of the leaders of United States of America the fact that they don't move on your direction.
I'm not an expert in this, so I can't
But
say
like simple
what is
citizen and military and political analyst, what is your opinion?
It's very simple. There should be more Romanians visiting America every day, and there should be more Americans visiting Romania every day. I think it is a liberalization. Before, the visas were for a very short period of time. Now it is for 10 years, 5 years, 10 years. And that is a liberalization. It makes it easier for Romanians to, without asking, to buy a ticket and simply to come to the United States. The visa is there. Our next step should be to have the same relationship with Romania as we have with Germany, which means that any German gets on any steamship.
You surprised me with this comparison, Germany and Romania. To compare Germany with Romania and to have the same condition.
Why not? I mean, Romania is a great country. It is a great country, so you should have the same rights in the United States as Germans. Simple as that.
Okay. It is the end of the first part of our broadcasting. Vom continua în partea a doua a emisiunii Valori Euroatlantice să discutăm cu distinsul invitat, Jim Seck, despre relațiile dintre administrația Obama și interlocutorii de rang înalt din Europa, pentru că este evident că anumite relații sunt reci, anumite relații sunt mai calde și anumite relații pot fi îmbunătățite. Dar aceasta după pauza publicitară. Stimați telespectatori, continuăm dialogul aparte, inedit, cu un prieten al României, analistul politico-militar Jim Seck, un om care cunoaște țara noastră, care cunoaște Europa, care a călătorit și în Rusia și care probabil a cântat și My Bonnie is over the ocean. Asta pentru că avem pe ecran imagini cu trecerea oceanului de către un pilot la mare înălțime. We will discuss now about the relation between President Obama and few presidents from Europe. And we will start with the fact we have the news George Cristian Maior, the former chief of the Romanian intelligence service, probably will be the next ambassador of Romania in Washington, D.C. It's a good sign for the relation between Romania and the United States of America.
That is something for Romanians to decide. We will welcome your representative, and we will do, I'm sure, and now I'm speaking on behalf of President Obama and the entire United States, of course.
Only like a simple citizen.
Yes. I am sure that we in the United States will do the best we can to facilitate close relations with Romania. It is, as you know, for too long, the United States has not had a ambassador in Bucharest, and I understand that we have appointed somebody who went to the same university that I went to, somebody that was in the same Russian and East European institute that I studied, who comes from a small village not far from where I live, and who has a very interesting German name, Hans Klemm. I looked at his vitae, I looked at his picture, I looked at his eyes, and I will not say like George Bush that I looked into his soul and I saw a good man, but I looked into his vitae and saw somebody I think is a career politician, or a career diplomat, excuse me, and somebody who will very strongly build ties between Romania and the United States. So I think that this is a very good thing. And he has a very good staff at this embassy to work with. I've spoken with one of the members, and she was very helpful, very informative, insightful. So I think that this is a key matter. We have an ambassador in Bucharest now who will build ties and carry messages and carry firm commitments from Washington to Bucharest.
I put on the screen images during an exercise against a terrorist act, a common exercise between Russian pilots and allied pilots from NATO, from Poland, from United States. Then on the level of military, frankly speaking, we had a good cooperation between NATO and Russia. And at the same time, on the fact, then in 2014, we have an aggression of Russia in Ukraine. We saw a different face of the leaders of Russia. And let me tell you frankly, now I think Obama don't have a dialogue with Putin. Not only no meetings, but in the same time no call phones.
Yes.
And it's a problem.
I agree with you. John Kerry, however, came very close to being our president. And he is still in consultation with Sergei Lavrov.
Yes, 2 times per week he has 2 calls, but always he made a statement and Lavrov said nothing.
I guess that they have more communications than we know, and that there is a willingness on both sides to keep communications going. Despite the threat to destroy Denmark with nuclear weapons.
It was a joke, a stupid joke, or a statement who was like a sign of power of Russia.
It sounded more like somebody who had had too many beers on a Saturday night at the bar. It was not a smart thing to say. And they have not fought. Well, then there was Putin a few days later that was reported as saying that they had considered nuclear options. That was not a good sign. That was a very bad sign. So I think that gave everyone in the world everyone in the world concerned that Russia was a little bit out of control, a little bit more dangerous than anyone had believed. And that we should be very careful in listening to everything they say and in making sure that, that we are prepared for whatever they suggest, whatever threats they offer, but first and foremost to ensure peace, to work toward peace.
A few days ago, on the Russian public television, it was the interview of the President Vladimir Putin with a Russian journalist, and he said during his interview about the fact he didn't regret any decision. It was a wise decision to have this reunification of Crimea with Russian Federation, and in the same time he told a very strange fact. Around the year 2000, few presidents of the world, he didn't give the names, told him they expected to have a smaller Russia, because in Caucasus were, you know, few problems. And he explained Russia in the past and Russia now, it's encircled, it's under the pressure. What is the impression of American people?
Two things.
Because we have on the screen now the first meeting between President Putin and President Obama, and during this meeting, it's obviously they don't like each other.
It's true. There are two things. We don't know whether President Putin is telling us the truth or not. We just don't know. There are so many times that he has said something. Remember, there were no Russian troops, no Russian arms, no Russian support of the separatists.
You believe this?
Well, no, and later in another interview he said, well, there was. So first he says no, then he says yes. You are a student of the Russians, you know about their philosophy of Maskarovka. You know that sometimes they say blue is black and green is purple, just to keep things confused. So do we know that the presidents that he did not name in this meeting, that he did not describe, said something to him about a smaller Russia? Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe they said something and he interpreted it this way. The other question, Russia, for public opinion, to protect Vladimir Putin's position, of course he's telling the Russian people they are surrounded. They want the Russian people to look in those directions, because you know, the Americans are all around, to look in those directions, not
inside.
Not inside, where the social problems are growing, where the wealth of, 10 years ago is now starting to diminish, where the good times are going away, where the government is taking money from the pensions to be able to pay salaries. So, agreed, you know, it's the traditional ploy to say, look, the enemy is coming, when the enemy is right there, in the center, in the Kremlin.
In the same
How
time,
did he become a billionaire?
Okay, but with your experience, you believe what he said in the same interview, in 2 years, Russia will be okay with their economy? You think so? Or it's only propaganda of Kremlin?
We'll go back to a basic concept, which is Russia is a kleptocracy. It is led by people who enrich themselves at the expense of everybody else. A system like that does not spread the wealth.
But let me tell you, Putin told to Russian journalists, okay, it's a kleptocracy in my party, but look at the opposition side. They have more people with this, let's say, ability.
Do you believe President Putin?
No.
Okay, so the question is whether anything that he says is reliable. And from my part now, Whenever I read a line, the President Putin said blah, 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 I look at it and I think, no, let me take that sentence and look at it in detail. Is it true? Is it realistic? Remember, Russia is dependent upon oil, gas, timber exports. I don't see many Ladas in Bucharest. I see no Ladas in America. They don't they export. They're like a colony. They export raw materials. If the price of oil, which the Saudis believe will stay about this level, stays there, it will be very hard for the Russian government to maintain its military, to pay its civil servants, to pay the pensions, to repair the streets, the roads, the highways, the bridges, the water systems. You know, they have to pay for these things. And the price of oil has dropped so far that it puts great pressure on the central budget of Russia to be able to do all of those things and still leave $1 billion or $2 billion left over for the oligarchs. You know, it is a system that is in the military, they say push decision making down to the lowest level.
Yes.
So that the soldier at the front can, if the captain is shot and incapacitated, the soldier can make the decisions for the platoon. Let's go this way, call in firepower. That does not happen in Moscow. The decisions are all made up here. Everybody waits for the decisions to come to them. A society and economy cannot run like that when everything is decided in Moscow and you have to wait 3 days to get a message in Vladivostok what to do. So I think you
can see on the screen images with President Obama, President Putin, and President Xi Jinping. And I put these images because I want to explain to us, if you wish, the relation between Obama and Xi Jinping. Because one side, and you can see on the screen, it's a cold relation between Putin and Obama, but at the same time, it's a warm, a good relation, a friendship relation between Obama and Xi Jinping. What is your opinion about this subject?
We are his biggest customers. He has to pay attention to the United States. On the other hand, they are our biggest creditors. So we borrow, the Chinese pay for much of our government borrowing. So we have a very, very deep interest in maintaining very good relations with China. We buy from them. We keep their people employed. If we stop buying from China, their economy dives immediately because they don't have another market the size of the United States. So we have we are dancing. And we will not stop dancing, I think, for many years. I don't think we will let the problem with Japan and the islands get in the way of this dancing. Keep dancing. We will not let the problem with North Korea. I don't think the Chinese will let the problem with North Korea interrupt our dance. I don't think that the buildup of Chinese military in the South China Sea will interfere with another dance. We will have disagreements. We will have moments when we are not dancing very well. But this dance will go on for many years. And in the United States, our universities are filled with Chinese students. And we have, one of my best friends is teaching business economics in a city in the north of China.
For a while, look at on the screen because I put the images of the meeting during Putin and Obama, and on their faces are very different, let's say, thoughts. It was very clear for all the people they don't have a good dialogue. They don't have good results. What was the impression of American citizen about this meeting? Because expressed in images as a real situation even today. The tension between the President of United States of America and the President of Russian Federation.
The relationship between those two gentlemen, the American people will choose to dance with Obama and not Putin. The American people will stand behind our president. Even the Republicans will stand behind our president very strongly, because we view in our country Vladimir Putin as an aggressor, who has a man of the 19th century, who has attacked his neighbor, who has caused 6,000 civilians to die, who has shot an airliner from the sky, who is threatening the Danes, who has caused people in Poland to worry about whether the winter would be very cold or not, to cut off their gas. So when we see that, I believe, that Vladimir Putin is a dangerous man, and I would not want my president to kiss him on both cheeks and shake his hand and walk away and maybe put on a Russian hat and dance a little. He is a problem. He is a problem child. He is causing problems all over Europe, in North Asia. He is causing problems in Iran. He is causing you name it, he is causing problems. It is very hard to be kind, loving, gentle, and tender with a man who is trying to burn your neighbor's house down. He is starting problems. So it is better to be, I think, firm with him. Friendship, no friendship. Firmness, the American policy is this, 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 and this. And that is our policy.
In the same interview on Russian public television, Putin said for the first time he is prepared to be in the future, after he ends with the presidency, a simple citizen. I think he made his best joke.
I think so too. I mean, where will he go? He can't go to Cuba now. He has to go someplace where he will be safe. If he leaves the presidency, he has another 6 years? He still has until 2020 or 2024.
We will see.
Yes, correct. Correct. There have been many czars who have not made it to the end of their term in office. And he has angered so many people inside Russia, where they have a police state, essentially, and outside Russia, in the world community. Remember the G8?
Yes.
It is now the G7.
Yes.
We have all turned our backs on this man, except for a dictator here, a dictator there. There are a few dictators left in the world who would welcome him. But would you trust living in, say, Damascus? Would you feel safe there?
No.
Okay. So I think you are absolutely correct that Mr. Putin is providing us all with a moment of humor.
In the same time, during a dialogue, he received a question. He was asked, look, what is your opinion about said Barack Obama about the situation in Russia? And President Putin said, who is Obama to judge us?
I am between Obama and Putin on this. Sometimes it is not the best to judge another country, but we feel, because, there is this philosophy called American exceptionalism. It is not because we are taller or stronger. It is because we are Romanians, Germans, Russians, Congolese, we are from Cuba, we are from all over the world. And we have given voice to all people. My best friend in Fort Wayne is from Sibiu. And he is very wealthy, and thanks the American system, because he had the opportunity to do what he wanted. That is American exceptionalism, the support of democracy in Romania, the support of democracy in Russia. So we will always support democracies, but, well, no, I will continue with that. We have the right to criticize Russia, and we welcome his criticisms as well. And we will continue criticizing Russia, and we welcome his insights into how to improve the American life.
It's very interesting, your synthesis, because Putin said in the same interview, around the year 2000, Russian intelligence services sent a message to CIA about the situation in Caucasus, and in the same time, after a few days, the answer of Central Intelligence Agency was, we will continue to have our contacts with your opposition. And this made angry Vladimir Putin.
Well, if it is true, I am sure that it would have made him. But again, we go back to what is true. It is so hard to determine the reality from the Kremlin. It is so hard to determine whether what they are saying is for the record or whether they are trying to manipulate history to show them as, again, surrounded, as a way of pointing the Russian people to the attackers from the West. Now, I will add, there have been episodes in the history of the CIA when they have done things that have not been honorable.
By the way, you are in reserve, I'm in reserve. You told me about CIA, and for sure you know the meeting between the representative of CIA and the intelligence service of Russia with higher reservists, and they discuss about the situation between United States of America and Russia. And at the beginning, Russian told to Americans, don't touch Crimea, don't give weapons to Ukraine, and Estonia, Lithuania, and Latvia are our countries.
Yes, I heard about
How you comment this event?
As I remember, the Russians, at the end of the Cold War, after the Soviet Union, made a treaty with Ukraine and the United States to protect the integrity of Ukraine's borders. And as I remember, at that time, Crimea was part of Ukraine, still is in the eyes of Chancellor Merkel. That the Donbass was, line was out here. It was a not a well-drawn line, but it certainly was on the east of Luhansk and Donetsk. So Crimea, Ukraine. Donbass, Ukraine. Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, as I remember, are members of NATO. And as I remember, since the early 1990s, have been free and independent countries, able to make their own decisions, able to set their own course. The Estonians have done wonderfully with their economy since they are no longer part of the Soyuz Sovietsky.
But Putin don't care about these
well, I think we
realities.
have what is Article 5 all about?
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
But you know, he is very dedicated to, let's say, psychological pressure.
Hybrid war.
Yes.
You know about hybrid war.
Yes.
And of course, years ago I visited Latvia. I went to Riga, and I stayed with a family. They were Russians. And it was the time between, well, they were in limbo.
Yes.
They had no passports.
Yes.
No, Soviet was gone. They still had Soviet passports, didn't work. They didn't have Latvian passports because it was a hard time. But they are integrated now into this part.
And now they are citizen of this country?
Yes, yes. And participating. They're retired, they have their income, they are comfortable, their apartment is nice, it's in the center of Riga. We have an agreement with the Baltic states.
You mean United States of America?
I mean NATO.
Okay.
And the United States of America.
Including?
Yes, including the United States and Romania.
Yes.
And that relationship includes defending them. So I think that is our policy. He can talk all he wants. He can shout that the sky is pink or green or yellow or whatever color, and that's okay. Let him talk. When, as we say, when push comes to shove, the American military will be there in one form or another.
Yes, it's a good message because, you know, in the 2014, the Baltic states, Poland, even Romania expressed in many times their attitude because Russian said all the time, we will be victorious and the United States of America will not apply Article 5.
So again, they can say what they want to, and it helps sell newspapers.
You can see on the screen now the moment when Vladimir Putin was asked about the opinion of the President Obama about his style of ruling Russia, and Putin give the answer, who is Obama to judge us? The question is not to judge Putin or to judge Obama. The question is to have a democratic life. The question is to have the change in this part of Europe, and Romania is part of European Union, is part of NATO, and in the same time we have for our children the hope they will have a peace. But as you can see, and as we can see on Moscow, and we will see on May 9 this year, they are dedicated to the war. I read on the first page of Sputnik International the news about the missile Topol. It's a sign of a show of force, and this missile will be in Moscow during the parade. This underlines the nuclear policy of Russia. Russia want to be the eagle state with United States of America, like was Soviet Union. It is afraid East European countries because this occasion they have nuclear power, we don't, and only United States of America could stop by diplomatic dialogue this pressure.
You remember, we need to make a distinction. It is Vladimir Putin and the Russian people. And I think, I remember an experience I had in Sevastopol many years ago. There were 20 people in this house. And they were all
many years ago when Sevastopol was part of Ukraine.
Yes.
And now it's part of Russian Federation.
They were Russians in the house. And they asked me if how I could get them visas to come to the United States. I will make a guess that if tomorrow the embassy in Moscow opens the visa window and says, anybody who wants a visa, come and get one, you will have 5 million Russians the next day in a line.
Why?
Because it's a quality of life. A chance to see the West, a chance to see, if only Disneyland, you know. This is what I saw in Sevastopol. That is what I saw in other parts of East Europe before, during the period just after the fall of the wall. Economics in Russia are not in a good condition right now. You know that. Most people know that the prices have gone up, that there's an embargo on apples from Poland, that people in Russia who used to enjoy caviar and, well, who used to enjoy Western beef now are turning to local products, and they're not happy.
You told me about local products. I will show you local products on the rehearsal for the military parade.
I watched that. It's very interesting.
But the most important is they focus on this parade. But in the same time, the Prime Minister Medvedev said a few days ago, Russia has lost last year 26 million euro, and now another 80 million euro. And at the same time, it's a problem. Putin wants to be in power, to stay in power, and to be protected by Russian armed forces. And the officers of Russian armed forces are very well paid.
Yes.
My question is, how long, how is the time you can see will be on Kremlin Putin, because it's a big difference between the, let's say, salary of a Russian officer and the salary of a normal Russian citizen.
Well, I mean, how long did the Soviet Union last? How what is this man in North Korea? Their family has managed to stay in power by paying the military much more, by paying the apparatus of control much higher salaries, and he will do the same thing in Russia. He will try to maintain his position, because I have a feeling that, like you said, he will not be able to retire to a nice little dacha in the countryside and raise raspberries. He will be in danger for the rest of his life from people who would like to have a little revenge. So as long as that is the case, see the hammer and sickle flying there, you know, in the parade. He would like to make sure that he has around him a Praetorian Guard, streltsy, so that he is protected. And he will keep them in place as long as his economy will support it. Remember, there is one line of discussion that suggests that Putin's real fear is not the West, but an orange, blue, green, some color revolution that comes to Moscow and overthrows him. And he finds himself in a cell in Lubyanka. So
But let's recognize between the first year of his presence in Kremlin until now, he avoided to have, let's say, an orange revolution.
yes.
By force, by
Right.
military force.
Well, there was a period of prosperity in the Soviet Union, or Russia. There was a period when people were getting richer, they were driving better cars. I visited in 2008, I think.
Before the invasion in Georgia?
I don't remember.
Because the
Exactly.
invasion was in August.
Yes, it was
August 2008.
It was in the spring, because I needed cheap tickets to get there. So, and what I saw was a country that had, people were dressed well, there were nice restaurants, it looked prosperous. It was Moscow. But it also looked, the people when they would walk in the subway especially, they looked tired and worn. But I think he built a prosperity, a period of prosperity. Remember, he says, always look that way, they're shooting from you that way, while he was amassing his personal fortune. That, meanwhile, what is the age, the expected life expectancy? The life expectancy has gone down in Russia. People are leaving the country. They want to be someplace else. We have colonies of Russians in America, in Istanbul and other places. And some of his greatest oligarchs have decided to move to London or some other part of the world. There is a drain on Russia. it will last as long as he is able to pay his bodyguards. At the moment, he has the bodyguards, and he is telling the bodyguards and the whole people, worry about the West. Don't look at what we're doing. Worry about the West. Look at the Romanians. They are, they're making noises again, making noises again.
You know, it's a question of...
Do you trust him?
No, but it's
Right.
a question. Russian people, it's with a very good culture. And,
Yes.
and Russian people are very clever. And in the same time, their leaders, and even Putin, they prefer to look on the past. They prefer to have the history of the Stalin in front of their eyes, like, let's say, a model. And they practically refuse to look on the future, because they want to be on the power with any price. Am I wrong?
Correct. Oh, no, I agree with you. I agree with you. The rehabilitated Stalin. But on one side, 27 million, someplace in that number, Russians died in World War II. In America, we had 200, 300,000. It was a very small number. It was, we didn't experience that sort of destruction and loss of life. It has provided subsequent leaders, Brezhnev, Putin especially, a reminder to say to the average Russian, remember what the West did to us last time. Remember when they invaded, this invasion from the West. And then there were the Mongols who invaded from the East, and then the Poles invaded, and there were all these Swedish Vikings who invaded. We are always under attack. And again, they tell the Russian people, look at who's coming after you, not what your government is doing to you. So, yeah, of course, they have these huge parades. They have these huge parades to remind people that the West attacked, Hitler attacked, the Nazis attacked. So it is to divert
frankly
them.
speaking, we don't want war in Europe.
Nobody wants war.
At the same time, we want a peaceful solution for the problems in Ukraine. But in the same time, we, Romania, and also other countries from NATO, I didn't say all the countries of NATO.
I understand.
We want to be respecting the aerial territory and independence of Ukraine.
Yeah.
And this could be impossible, because Putin said clear, Crimea is us.
Yes, and
forever.
the one joke is that war in Europe is impossible because it requires too much paperwork, too many stamps, too many permissions, too many votes. And the end of that is that they have attacked. I would expect lawsuits, the criminal court. I would expect all sorts of proceedings to start against Vladimir Putin, each general that is involved, all of these people. And maybe for 5 years, for 10 years, Crimea will be part of Russia. But someday, they're just going to wear out, because the rule of law takes so long and it finally gets there.
But Putin said in the same interview, I respect the international law.
Oh yes, of course he does. Law is inexorable. He will pay eventually. He will pay eventually. And his soldiers will pay eventually. I said something very stupid a while ago. I said, no one in Europe wants war. Well, of course, someone in Europe wants war. There are these motorcyclists who glorify war. There are people who thrive on war, who are psychopathic, who are sadistic, who are not like you, not like any of the people behind these cameras or anybody here in Bucharest. There are people who enjoy the thrill of war, or the theft of war. So we always have to worry about these people. And there are too many of them who are close to Vladimir Putin, who are ready to assist him in intimidating his neighbors, whether it's Bulgaria, Romania, Poland. He will try to intimidate you. He will try to intimidate us. He will say, what are you to say anything about Russia? Well, I have the right to say about Russia what I want. You have the right to say about it what you want. The vast majority of people do not want war. Nobody wants war, except for sadistic psychopaths.
You know, I had the occasion to have a dialogue a few weeks ago with a few Russian diplomats which lives now and work in Bucharest. And they told me, you don't understand us. You don't understand the historic problem of Crimea. You don't understand our policy. The problem is necessary to have a dialogue, because in the same way as you remember was a situation during, I apologize, but it is reality, during Adolf Hitler. Hitler told to German people, this is our way, this is our victory, this is our future. Unfortunately now, when I see what is happening in Russia on the level of the presidency, unfortunately it's the same situation.
It does remind
Maybe
you.
I'm wrong.
It does remind you of that. Again, the Russian people in general are not participants. They are not involved in this. They are watching the TV. They are being told that...
Yes, because they know they don't have the power to change the situation.
Agreed, agreed. You know, Russia does have a troubled history. But much of the trouble has been caused by Russia's leadership, not the Russian people. They have a wonderful culture. I very much enjoy much of what I've learned from my Russian friends, who are also frustrated with this situation. They do not feel in America, they don't feel strong support for Russia and Russian policy. What are they doing? They're wondering why the Russian government is well, you know, when did Russia annex Chechnya? In the 1850s. Well, they have been constantly moving against their neighbors, trying to push the boundaries out, trying to create that buffer zone between Germany on the west and Russia, so that there would be between them the Romanians who would provide food. There would be the Poles who would provide who knows what, the apples.
They always like to have a buffer zone.
Yeah, and they like to take advantage of your cheap labor in building canals and working in salt mines and whatever else. And they have done the same thing to the south. When did they take Crimea? During the time of Catherine the Great? They took it. It was Tatar before. Who was it before? I don't know. It goes back in history. But they conquered these areas. They conquered Chechnya. They conquered Karelia. They conquered Bessarabia. So they are the ones that are going after you. You are not the ones attacking them.
Yes, the problem is Putin said to leader of the Western area, the former area of Soviet Union is our area of responsibility, is not your business.
Well, there's a concept of zone of influence. And I understand that. The United States, we have this Monroe Doctrine that says that South America is ours. It was a document of the 18th and 19th century. It is not very valid now. The idea that Romania is part of the sphere of influence of Russia is a 19th century concept. In the 21st century, where you have the European Union, which is a trading bloc where you are able to trade inside and trade with your neighbors. We hopefully have gone from making war as a way of acquiring wealth to trading as a way of acquiring wealth. I don't want to attack Romania and steal your national treasures and keep them in Washington. Why should I, when we can buy things from Romania?
I told in another broadcasting on 6 TV the fact, and and the viewers can check in history. In the last 300 years, United States of America didn't want Transylvania, didn't want Bessarabia, didn't want our treasure, and this explains why, from my point of view, like simple citizen, like former military, I like to have a good relationship with the United States of America, because unfortunately, another neighbors and more Soviet Union, they are now the Russian Federation, they prefer to look at Romania like part of their future area, their future territories.
Again, it goes back to what is our goal? Our goal is trade. You and I will become rich if we trade with the people in the control room and you trade with somebody there. You know, the Americans have no goals on, we don't want Transylvania or Bukovina. Bukovina is beautiful, I do love it. We want free breakfast with our hotel room. That is about it. A good deal. We want a cheap airplane ticket to Bucharest to relax, to go to the Athenaeum, to walk downtown, to enjoy the sights in Bucharest. We want fairness, we want security, we want prosperity. I want the Russians to be wealthy, to have happiness, to have everything that we have in the United States. Why not? I don't want Vladivostok.
Okay, let's return to the reality of this spring, 2015, and we have the last 3 minutes. And tell me your conclusion. Will be after the military parade in Moscow in May 9, something bad in the east part of Ukraine?
Yes. My fear is that he will go after that. Of course, there will be no Russian troops there and no Russian support. They will be on holiday. They will just be visiting, happen to have some weapons, a tank, maybe some Vuk missiles, some Katyusha. But they will not be Russians. They will be, and they will make an effort to take Mariupol. Now, a dear friend of mine who was a member of the Romanian government here says that they are worn out, they are tired, they don't have the money, and they can't do it. I think he is a gambler. I think Putin will take a chance to link the Donbass with the Crimea because they need to supply that area, and they cannot build that bridge. I think he has strategy there.
Sir, it was a pleasure to have you like a special guest to 6TV, because your opinions were for me and for the viewers very interesting, and I will invite you when you will return in Romania to be here with other Romanian in a dialogue between the future of Europe, because for us it's very important the dialogue with United States of America. It's very important the support of United States of America for Romania like a NATO country.
We are a team.
And we will stay like a team. Vă mulțumesc, stimați telespectatori, pentru răbdarea pe care ați avut-o pe timpul acestui interviu cu un partener de peste ocean care ne-a oferit multe motive de reflexie. Am onoarea să vă salut!